Mascoro Jr., Cesar Mascoro Jr. I am from San Antonio, Texas, okay? And I'll give you a little bit of background on me just so you understand where I'm coming from, okay? So I'm truly consider myself a realist, okay? With the way I handle business, but also an optimist because I am in sales. I've been in sales all my life. I did manufactured home sales in Texas for 14 years, both for an independent dealership and for a retail dealership, or I should say a what do you call it? Corporate dealership, Titan Factory Direct, right? And so I've sold all brands of homes. I've had all different types of sales teams working for me. I did sales, I did operations, okay? I did sales manager and general manager. And so it's funny how I got into it because my love for housing started in high school. When I was a sophomore in high school, I took a drafting class. I fell in love with it. I thought I was going to be drawing houses the rest of my life. And then I went to school for that and I realized, man, I'm not going to make much money unless I own the place, and that's going to take a long time. So I got into sales, right? And before that, since 1993, I did site build homes. I was designing homes. More specifically, I was doing structural design. Wall panel designs, roof truss designs, floor system designs, those kinds of things for tract home builders back in San Antonio. And then I went out on my own, started doing a design build company for a while, and then 2008 happened, right? And I wasn't financially fiscal back then. And so luckily a buddy of mine called me in 2009 and they were expanding. I knew he was a sales manager for a manufactured home dealership just outside San Antonio. He calls me and he tells me, hey, why don't you come visit with us? We're going to expand. We're going to open up another location. We're looking for some salespeople for it. And I did what everybody else did who's not familiar with manufactured homes. I was like, mobile homes? Really? You want me to sell mobile homes? You know what I do for a living? But I was desperate. And so I went and I met with him and I met with the owner and I realized that there was something different. There was a possibility there. So I said, screw it, let's go. I'll do it. And they gave me about 2 hours worth of training, sat me down at a desk, gave me a stack of leads, said, make some phone calls, get some people in. I'm like, okay. So I did that. And this was in 2009. I sold 3 homes my first 30 days. I sold the homes off the lot because I wanted to make some quick cash. Made 10 grand my first month, didn't look back. I loved it. I was in love with manufactured home sales from then on. I was there for about 8.5 years. Then I went over into Titan Factory Direct, where we were selling champion homes, right? We were champion, direct supplier champion. And there I learned a lot more. But throughout the years, I'm going to tell you something. Throughout the years, there was something that just didn't sit right with me about the industry. And that's had more to do with where I came from before, okay, as far as what I was doing before. I didn't like the way people looked at us as a second-tier option. It didn't sit well with me throughout all those years. I didn't like when realtors came in and brought people with them and they looked down at us like we're less than. I was like, we compare bank statements. Let's see who makes more money, right? But that's just how I thought. You know, I'm very competitive. I didn't like it. But I also knew that we were part of the issue on the sales side. The way we handled the sales, the way we handled ourselves, the way we carried ourselves, how we handled the whole buying experience. We had a lot to do with the way people felt about us. Let's be real, okay? And some of the things I'm going to talk about today maybe rub some people the wrong way, but it's the honest truth because I've been doing what maybe you don't, but your sales teams do. I've been in there, and I know most of you have as well, right? And that's the issue, is the disconnect between how we handle the sales process and what people, and the stigma that is associated with factory built housing, manufactured homes, mobile homes, whatever you're going to call it, right? And so because of that, the last few years in 2020, I started thinking about, man, it'd be great if there was a company that would come in and really help folks out with sales training and really elevate what we offered, how we are as a location, as a sales team, and just carried ourselves a little bit differently. But there was none. There's a couple of options out there. You guys probably know about them, right? RMHA. There's some stuff you can find, but there's nothing specific to the industry. So in 2022, we were on vacation, on family vacation, and I told my wife, I said, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. So in April of 2023, I left Titan Factory Direct. I left a career making almost, $750,000 as general manager to start this. My wife was like, you sure you're going to do this? Like, we have 3 boys at home, right? And my wife lives a very comfortable lifestyle. But it was just a higher calling. I had to do something. And so that's when I launched Manufactured Home Sales Mastery. Okay. We're a training company. We're a consulting company. And the first 7 months that we were doing it, believe me, I got some looks like, what? Why would we even need training? That's exactly why. First of all, okay? It's the truth, right? We laugh, we chuckle, but it's the truth. But yeah, for the first 7 months, nothing. But after something happened at month 7 and on, and we've been blessed the last 10 months where things have been really great for us. We've been doing really well. We've been helping both retailers and communities across the country. We've been doing work for folks, and we've got some larger clients, and we've got just really mom and pop type organizations that are part of our client list that we help them out. But it's all about coming in and helping them to operate at a different level on the front end side of things. Okay, because that's where it all starts. It starts with sales. Sales is first when it comes to this, right? But as I travel, I hear a lot of the same things. Right? People saying, well, the houses cost so much now. It's true. They do. Right? The interest rates, the economy, over-regulation. Right? But those are all things that are out of our control. If you put me on the sales side and I'm general manager, I'm the sales manager, I'm your housing consultant, I got no control over any of this stuff. None of it. And your teams don't either. Right? So it's about focusing on the things that we do have control over. It's about helping them understand what they can do still, even in spite of all of this. You heard a lot of great information right now from this panel. There's things that are moving. There's things that are happening. Some of it you don't like. Some of it you do like. Most of it we don't. We get it, right? But we got to roll with it. What are we going to do? Shut the doors down and just move on? I mean, I know that's an option, but it's really not what we want to do. We're here to help people at the end of the day. Provide that housing that we're talking about. So with all that being said, it's really about, like I said, what we can control, what we can do. And I'm going to start right now by telling you guys this little situation. Everyone know this guy right here, right? Steve Jobs. So it's strange when you think about it. In 1985, so this guy starts this company, right? In 1985, he's fired from his own company. And then 11 years later, they bring him back because they weren't doing that well, right? But he gets fired from his own company. But then when he comes back, that's when things changed tremendously. You think about it. That's when you got the iPod, right? For those of you that had one back in the day, some of you may be too young for that. I don't know. I'm 52, so. iPads, obviously the iPhone. I mean, the iPhone, it's its own little cult. To be honest, right? My whole family, my 3 kids and my wife, they all have iPhones. I'm the only Android guy. It's just the way I am. I always go against the grain. You're always going to get my little green bubbles if you text me, right? But check this out. Why did things change for Apple then? Because Steve Jobs was somebody who always thought to challenge the way things are done. Go against the way things are done. Challenge the status quo. And since then, it blew up. And there's other companies when you think about Jeff Bezos with Amazon, right? Elon Musk with Tesla, SpaceX, Starlink. There are all these people that challenge the way things are done in an industry, and it just blew up for them. And right now, folks, right now is our Apple moment as an industry. Right now is our opportunity to change things, to really kick this up with everything that we just mentioned because of the high prices, because of the interest rates. 11 interest rate hikes over the last 2 years. It's crazy. I mean, there's talks of it coming down, but still, it's the reality of it. So there's so much opportunity right now if we just decide to do things differently. And that's the responsibility that falls on us or anyone else that's in management or ownership or whatnot. Because here's what happened, right? In 2022, as of 2022, 51% of American households, the numbers have changed a little bit over the last year and a half, but 51% of American households were only making a combined $75,000 a year, according to NAR. That's 22 million families across the country that can no longer afford a site-built home because 75,000 gets you what, 250, 275,000 right now. It's 6.75% rate for 30 years. So our product is a solution for a lot of these folks. It may not solve everyone's problem in here, but what I am talking about is there's a huge opportunity and a client base that's out there, a new market segment for us to tap into as an industry, even you here in Colorado. But it's all about perspective. It's all about how we think and what we do and how we carry ourselves and what we start to instill within our sales teams or frontline community managers like Clarissa right here, right? With Inspired Communities. Because they want to do great for you. Those of you, how many in here are actually in sales, by the way? Okay. Everybody wants to do great. We all get into the business. We all get into some sort of sales role. Why? Because of the money, right? We think about what money we can make. And the great thing about this industry is the only way you make that money is by helping families. That's it. If you're on the retail side, the only way you make that money is by helping your retailers, your communities help other families, solving problems. But we got to go about doing it differently, right? So that's why I say, factories, what are you doing for your communities? What are you doing for your retailers? Man, it's been great, especially in COVID. I remember, come on, 6-month, 12-month turnaround times. Couldn't make any changes to floor plans because, hey man, that's the way we build it. That's the way you're going to take it, right? And people were lining up to buy the homes. We had 10, 15 people that wanted to buy one house. It was great. It's fantastic. Tons of money being made. But what are you doing now for your retailers and for your communities to help lift them up, to empower them so that they can operate and see through the tunnel, through the darkness at what still is out there, right? For the retailers, for your sales teams and your buyers, what are we doing there? Same thing for communities. What are we doing for our community managers, the sales leasing agents? It's time. The change happens with us here in the room. These folks in here, the lawyers, the attorneys, and all that stuff, they're taking care of that stuff, man. I can't. You put me in that room, I don't know. Okay. But you want me to sell something, I'll sell something. You just got to get me what I need. You got to help me out. You got to let me feel like everything is okay. Yeah, it's harder. Yeah, it means you got to make twice as many calls, 3 times as many calls, whatever it's going to take. But they're still out there. Not everybody's our customer. Not everybody's our customer. But it's about our perspective and what we do. And so, like I said, it comes down to what we can control. And so we're gonna go over some of these things. These are the main things that I see, and this is what is the foundation of our consulting and our training programs that we put on, that we do. And we don't just do a training class and then we forget. We're like there. We follow up with them through support after the fact to make sure that it's implemented. That's the difference between us and what we do. And I'm not here to pitch you on our training. I'm here to pitch you on what makes a difference, because I'm here to tell you this. The retailers that we're working with and the communities all see 150, some of them are 400%. You can go on our website and our social media. We've got retailers 400% increase in fundings. I don't care about the sales, man. What's actually cashing in, right? You smiled. That's the important thing. That's all that matters at the end of the month. What am I funding? What funded? What can I use to pay the bills? That's the important thing. So, changing the status quo in the sales process and culture, committing to continuous personal and professional development. These are all things we've heard of before, but taking it serious and actually doing it. Respecting ourselves, the product, and the industry. Talk to you a little bit about that. Being a leader, no matter what your title is, anyone in sales, that's the key thing I promote huge to sales teams. You do not have to be a manager of some sort to be a leader here. You need to step up, you need to go and do what needs to get done. Operating every day with passion, with purpose and urgency. And lastly, choosing to operate at an elite level. How do we show up every day at the office? How do we show up for our team? How does our team show up? What are we expecting? What are the standards? What are we bringing to the table? How excited are we getting them? Man, you want them to run through walls for you, don't you? So what are we doing to get them pumped up to do that? And I'm not talking about rah-rah things. I'm talking about really empowering them. Blue ocean and the red ocean. And if you're familiar, you've read this book before, that red ocean, it describes it as, it's that ocean, bloody waters, right? You got all these sharks and everybody just going at each other because they're doing everything that they've done the way they've always done it. And they don't know any better. But then over here on the other side, you got a blue ocean. Over here, you've got a huge opportunity that no one has really tapped into. And I liken it to every time I had a sales meeting, especially when we had a corporate meeting where we had 12 locations, right? And all our GMs, we all got together and here's what it was, right? We were Titan. How can we take business from Palm Harbor? How can we take business from Clayton? How can we take business from A1 down the street? How can we take business? Rather than, hey, how can we get new business? How can we get new customers? Why do I always have to go and beat them up? Because by the time they come to me, if they've been to 3 other places, my price is down here at that time. Right? So we want to be in that blue ocean as opposed to staying in that red ocean where we're cannibalizing each other. But in order to do that, you can't accept the way things have been done. That's what I travel all over the country. I was in the industry for 15 years, and I know there's some of you that have been doing this 30, 40, God knows, 50 years. I've run across some people. And that's fantastic. And I get it all the time. When we start talking about it, that's the way we've always done. Yeah, and it's gotten to you where you're at. It's gotten us where we're at. That 9 to 10% market share across the country. Make sure that we're actually doing that. Empathy, it starts with caring. You got to care. You got to truly care to want to improve, to want to make sure that our teams are operating at an elite level. Making sure that your sales process, your buying experience is customer-centric. Okay? I've only been in the industry since 2009. And I know even then, I worked at I was an independent dealership outside San Antonio. Sometimes we weren't really thinking about the customer. Right? Again, like I said, I may say some things and be like, why are you even saying this? But I was in it. I know. I'm not saying that's what's going on now, but if it is, we need to get away from that. We need to change that. It should be about the customer. I'm not saying we run and kiss everybody's butt. That's not what it's about. It's just about doing what we say we're going to do, making sure that we have their best interests in mind, especially with as hard pressed as the economy is right now. Right? And then lastly, empowerment. And that's huge. Empowering our team, having an empowered team is huge. Having a team that shows up, that is confident in their skills and their abilities, in everything that has to do with what they do on a daily basis, makes it so much different in your office. And when a potential home buyer shows up and they're treated in that manner and they run across a person that actually talks to them and speaks to them and gives them the information, answers all their questions, which we're going to get into in the training session a little bit later this afternoon on how to do this. The customer feels empowered. And when they feel empowered, that's when it makes it easier to get them to make the decision the first day. Man, I want that. I want that deal today. That's always how I've been as a salesperson, sales manager, general manager. Why are we not getting the deal today? Why aren't we starting right now? But it's because we didn't make that potential home buyer feel completely empowered. That's the only reason they walk out of here. Man, it's not about the price. They're looking at $500,000 anywhere else. What are you going to think about? Do I want to spend $200,000 less? No, that's not what they're thinking about. It's just they didn't get everything they thought they were going to out of that experience. So empowering our teams to empower the home buyers is key, is huge. And when we do that, we can only do that when we are getting better. When we are getting better. Like I said, I'm about to be 52 years old. In November, I'll be 52, right? And I go to some places, I'm like running circles around some 20-year-olds. Like, dude, I got to check them for a pulse. Like, you alive? Energy is what it's about. And the only way they're going to have that energy, the only way they're going to be excited every time they show up every day is if they know that they are set up for success. And the only way we're going to get them set up for success is by making our culture one of continuous improvement, one of continuous learning, of continuous growing. It's living by that principle, that Japanese principle of Kaizen, which is continuous improvement. That's a Japanese principle where they're always learning something, always learning something. When I started this business, I had to learn about websites and funnels and all these things, right? That I didn't have to deal with when I was a general manager. We had a team that did that stuff. I had to learn it for my business. But all that stuff, man, the more you learn, the younger it just keeps you younger. You're more driven, you're more excited. What are we bringing them? Our teams. How are we empowering them? How are we growing them? How are we promoting personal and professional development? They should know your product inside and out. They should know the construction of it. They should know whether or not this home has a 10-inch steel life frame or 12-inch steel life frame. They should know what the wall panels are. Not that it's paneling, but it's actually a wall panel. It was constructed in a jig. It was constructed there in the factory, right? They should know about the warranties. They should know all of those things. Because when they know those things, they'll walk a little taller. They'll speak a little louder. Shoulders back, more confident, big old smiles. It's easier to be smiling. It's easier to have a great time when you're with a customer, when you know that you can answer just about any other question. Or if I can't answer it, I know that my rep, when I call him, he's going to pick up. Sometimes I didn't know. Hey, that's a great question. Let's call the rep right now. I get my cell phone right there with the customer in the house. Hey, Chad. That was my rep over with Champion back in Burleson, Texas. I had this customer here. He's got a question about this, and I didn't really know how to answer it. Can you answer for him? Boom, there it is. Right? Same thing with the banks. But being able to do that from the personal level, professional and personal, knowing what they're passionate about, knowing what your teams want to accomplish for themselves outside of the office. That goes a long way with them. Those little things like that. And you probably are doing this already. I'm probably speaking to the choir right now, or I'm preaching to the choir. But it's just a little reminder, because these things are huge. Because here's the thing. Your sales consultants, your housing consultants, your community managers, we all wear different hats. I'm with one customer, and I start by simply, I'm that practical psychologist, right? Trying to find out why they're trying to buy a home, why they're needing, what's important to them, all these things. Then I got to wear my salesman hat when I'm out there showing them homes. Then from that, I got to wear my finance hat to figure out what I can do to get this deal bought. And then from there, I'm wearing a customer service hat to make sure they stay happy throughout the whole process. But the only way we're going to accomplish that, folks, is by making sure that we are promoting a culture of continuous learning, a culture of growth. You can't have growth in business if you don't have growth in the people. Plain and simple. And right now is the perfect opportunity. With things being the way they are, as far as pricing and rates and all these things. Right now is the time to set up your teams to learn anything and everything that they possibly can, because that's going to keep them engaged. That's going to keep them moving forward. That's going to keep them wanting to do this thing and fight through all the no's and the no's and the no's, because right now we're getting more no's than we were even 2 years ago. Right? Because they saw an ad. Call about that trailer. I'm sorry. Every time I got that call, I don't sell trailers. What are you talking about? Well, yeah, I saw the ad. Or they'll walk in, right? Want to see that trailer? I don't sell trailers. Home Depot's down the road. Well, no, the house. Oh, okay, yes, the home. So tell me about that house. Starts there. How are we referring to our product? What are we doing? Right? If you want to get into a price war, go ahead. That's where it starts. You're devaluing the product right then and there. But respecting your time, set appointments. They got to show up to an appointment. That has to do with the follow-up. That has to do with everything that we should be doing as a team. Right? And by doing this, folks, when you respect yourself and you respect the product and you're respecting your company, you're always looking out for the best interest of the company. It's win-win. It's got to be a win-win. It's got to be a win for the customers. It's got to be a win for the company. It's got to be a win for you as an individual. And I say you because sometimes even me as general manager, I had to jump in there. We had, when there was more traffic in the door than I had a team, I had to jump in front of people sometimes as well. So luckily if I sold a house, I got paid on that one too. Right. But it's about providing them something that's going to benefit them. Again, going back to the whole customer-centric deal. And these are the things that we have control over. We don't have control over what's going on with these bills and these laws and things. You got people that handle that. But we're in this deal daily, right? We come to these meetings, you have your committee meetings and things to address those situations. But daily we're in the mix of selling homes, solving problems. And that's why we need to make sure that we're taking care of these things and handling the industry the way that it needs to be handled. We provide a housing solution for everyone. Everyone. You don't sell homes, you solve problems. If you keep that in mind, it makes everything so much easier. The sale happens because you solve the problem. That's a little pointer for you, Clarissa. Sell homes, you sell the home because you solve the problem. Everybody has a housing problem that comes in to see us. We just need to figure out what that is. That emotional driver that's got them going. And when we do that, now, when I'm respecting myself, I can rely on any one of my team to know that they're going to be taking care of my business. I know that they're going to be doing and acting in the best interest of my business. If I'm empowering them, if I'm pouring into them, if I'm helping them to be the best version of themselves, I know they're going to do the best for my company. And that's what I did when I was selling before, whether it was general manager, whatever rank I was. Because it's about making sure we have the right people in place. So every one of us is a leader, no matter what the title. And people are watching. People are watching. Not just ownership, not just management. Your team is watching. Other people within your team are watching you. You know? How's Andrew at the office? They're watching. What does he do? Right? And if you're that type of person who goes above and beyond without saying, hey, where's mine? That's what I did for you today. Other people notice, and guess what? Other people, if you have the right people in place, start to do the same thing. And sometimes it comes down to what people do we have in the office, right? I hated firing people. I really did. It was probably one of my weaknesses. I kept people far too long than I should have. Can anyone relate? Yeah. I mean, because really at the end of the day, man, we're not, I don't think any of us in here are bad people. And I've seen what this industry has done for me and my family. Guys, when I started in this business in 2009, I was homeless because I rolled the dice on my other business. I had lost my house. I was living out of a Yukon, GMC Yukon, for the first 3 months that I was working for manufactured housing consultants, is what it was called. They didn't know that I would sleep in the office. I had a gym membership to Planet Fitness. That's where I would shower every morning. And this industry changed my life. Mine. This kid from the poorest school district in Texas, the Israel Independent School District, look it up. Mexican, first generation American. My parents spoke Spanish at home. Anybody can do it. I'm nobody from nowhere. And because of that, that's why that's why I'm so passionate about this industry. That's why I'm so passionate about helping people. And I'm so passionate about being able to help the people that are already in the industry. And that's why sometimes I kept people far longer than I should have. Because I saw what it did for me, and I was like, man, please. I hit my head against the wall. Like, why aren't you getting it? It's just sometimes we just don't have the right people. And that's unfortunate, but it's part of the reality part. And we go back at the beginning, right? But not only are the people in the office watching, but the people around your loved ones. Everyone is watching who you are, how you carry yourself. So we have 3 boys still at home. One of them is right here. Okay? He's 18, just graduated high school. You're not going to school. You're going to be traveling with me, right? He wants to be a filmmaker. So there you go. There's some training right here, baby. But anyway, we have a 10, or now they're 11 and 7 still, right? And every morning, they either call me if I'm not at home, or I take them, or I go with them to go drop them off if I am home. And every morning I tell them, I've been telling them this for years, be a leader, not a follower. Because everybody needs that. Everybody should be a leader. Your family watches, your friends see, your community pays attention. You can do so much more. This industry provides so well for people on different levels that we could help out far beyond what we do. Why are we doing this? That's the other thing to find out. Why am I doing what I do? Why am I in factory-built housing? Whether it's modular, manufactured, if I'm in the community space, why am I doing this? It's important that you understand why. Why do you do what you do? Because it's knowing that passion or that purpose that leads to passion. That's where you hear from me. And sometimes it comes across a different way, and I apologize for that. You know, sometimes it may seem like I'm coming down on people, but it's not. It's just I really have a passion for what we do. I have a passion for helping people because I've been blessed by this industry. And we can do so much more. That's why now our purpose, before it was about helping people within the community, right? We sold into Texas, Oklahoma, and all that. And man, with my team of 5, we sold quite a bit. We helped a lot of families. How can I do more? How can I do more? And that's where I thought, come up with this company, I'll go and work with other groups and help them do what I used to do. And now we've exponentially grown. Just over the last 10 months, I can't even count the amount of families that we've helped through the people that we help, right? But our purpose, my purpose that picks me up every morning, wakes me up every morning, gives me this energy that just wants to come out and do these things, is because back home in San Antonio, like I said, I went to the poorest school district in the state of Texas. So I grew up, obviously, in a rough part of town. Where I grew up, man, people don't tell you these things. People don't come in and say, hey, you can be whatever you want, and you can do this, and you can do that. All it's going to take is you putting in some work, learning this. Hey, go do this. Maybe you want to take a class on this. Do these kind. Nobody does that where I came from. So the purpose of our company is to set up a community center back where I grew up for the underprivileged youth, to give them life and business skills from middle school on. That's why I travel. That's why I spend all this time away from my family, visiting folks like you, going to retail centers, going to communities and working with them, spending my time away from the family to do that. That's my purpose in life. What's yours? What's your team's purpose? Do they even know what it is? I venture to say a lot of them haven't really figured it out. And we sit and wonder, why am I even here? What do I do? But that plays a huge key on the type of work that you're going to get out of them. The effort they put in. When they have that figured out, they'll work with urgency. They'll learn everything they need to learn. They'll attack the deals. They'll go run to the fires. They'll do all these things. But some of them just don't know how to do it. They don't know where to even start learning these things. And that's why I tell you, it's on us. We've got to take that and bring it to them. We've got to establish that within our culture back at our office. So if you leave here with nothing else except for one thing, think about, go back home, wherever that may be, and what's the culture like at my place? How do I run my business? How do I inspire my people? Because that's going to help them block all this other stuff out that we were talking earlier this morning, that the great news that we had, right, from the attorneys that were up here, the lobbyists, right, Christian, and I'm sorry, I forgot his name right there. But it's great info. We all need to know that. On the business side, we need to know that. But don't think your teams don't think about that. And when we haven't helped them see through that, that kind of stuff will bog them down. A few years ago, probably, I don't know, 9, 10 years ago, okay? I was sitting at home one day, had come home from work, we were having dinner. And I preface this because it's being recorded, right? So I'm going to say, babe, I love you. So my wife was sitting there and she was having a conversation. She was talking about these things that were going on, her friends, this and that, blah, blah. It was one bad thing after another. Finally, I just had to stop. I was like, okay, hold on, stop. Don't bring that negativity around me. I'm in sales. I can't have that stuff. It brings me down. It really weighs on me, and then I can't do what I got to do, right? So same thing with your teams. Your front line, your folks that have to deal with people that they're already getting rejected already on their own. And if we have negativity around them, I'm not saying don't be real. They got to know what's going on. But we have to lift them up. We have to inspire them. We have to pick them up. Help them find their passion, their purpose, so that they work for you with urgency. And lastly, elite. Elite. I've never understood when you ask somebody, hey, how you doing today? Oh, I'm good. Really? Just good. Right? Oh, getting by. It's another day. Drives me crazy. It really does. It drives me crazy to hear that. Because I understand it, man. We all, believe me, I've had problems. You guys heard a little bit about them. I've had a whole bunch more. We all do. We all have issues we have to deal with. But to me, any day above ground is a freaking fantastic day. I can deal with whatever's coming at me. Right? The problem's going to be when I don't wake up, even though I'm not going to know about it. But still, it's going to suck. Let me ask you, I'm gonna put it to you this way, okay? Because it's choice. Our attitude is choice. It really is. And I'm gonna frame it for you this way. You buy an airplane ticket, you're gonna fly somewhere. You buy your ticket, and you show up to the counter, and then they tell you, Judy-Ann? Is it Judy-Ann? Judy-Ann. Hey, Judy-Ann, congratulations. We're going to upgrade you to first class. It's not going to cost you anything. Okay? Would you turn it down?
I don't think so.
No, right? Would you turn it down if you got in a fight with your spouse or family member You were negative in your bank account? Would you turn it down then? No. Who would? So why do we turn down having a great attitude every day? Why are we just okay? Why are we good? We're choosing that. You wouldn't choose to turn down that free first-class ticket. Our attitude is choice. Now, I know that bad things happen. Believe me, I've had some things happen. Some of you know my ex-boss. He was a joy to work for. Right? No, I love that guy to death. I've learned a lot. But we all have those days. House came out wrong, customers this and that, and you couldn't fund the deal in time, and it's the end of the, whatever it is. We've all had them. And you're going to get affected by it. You're going to be affected by it. But you can't let it carry on. You can't let it ruin everything. You learn from it, you move on, you grow. But it takes work. And are we willing to put in the work? That's what we need to think about. Are we willing to put in the work on what it takes to be elite, to operate at an elite level? I'm going to show you guys some stats here real quick, or some information that I found on LinkedIn. And I was to blame for it as a general manager, because I didn't truly dedicate the amount of time that I should have to every one of them that started to get them skilled up so that they can handle what they were getting themselves into. Everybody talks about the money. Hey, you can make great money in this business. And they get fired up. Who wouldn't? But nobody prepares them for what they're about to really get into. Right? So helping employees develop for their careers. The other one right here, check this out. 4 times. Learners who set career goals engage with learning 4 times more than those who don't set goals. So really getting to learn your teams. What are their goals? And then helping them understand how they can reach those goals. Not just, hey, great, you got goals. Awesome. But actually holding them accountable to them. 90% of organizations are concerned about employee retention, and providing learning opportunities is number 1 for retention, their retention strategy. And you'll see right there, there's 3 levels of learning culture within an organization: baseline, moderate, strong. A strong learning culture in your business ups retention by 57%. Think about the amount of money you lose every time you have to hire a new sales consultant. Burn through leads, waste time, lose deals. When if we could just train up the people we've got, inspire them, they stay and they actually carry out their career in an empowered manner. Shoulders back, head strong. So, if you act with purpose, you'll live in prosperity. It's those 6 things, folks. Challenging the status quo, committing to continuous learning, respecting yourself, the product, the industry, being a leader, operating with passion, purpose, and urgency. That's the main one, urgency. And be elite. If we can do that for ourselves, if we can do that for our teams, we can overcome the things that are challenging the industry right now. Because there are still buyers out there who will buy. There are still people who will decide to make a choice on a living change, on a lifestyle change. And when we are prepared to handle that and operate with this in mind, we are more convincing. But to be convincing, you must be convinced. How convinced are we? How convinced are our teams? It's on every one of us to be able to do that. And we all have that choice, like we talked about earlier today. And I hope that we all choose to be elite. I appreciate your time. And I'm gonna be here, I think it's at 1 o'clock, right? 1 o'clock, we're doing a little live sales training in one of the rooms here. I invite you to come on by. We're gonna go over a few things that may help to up the closing percentage for you, just right off the bat. But anything that we can do to help out, man, we are more than happy to. And there's a whole bunch of stuff online, so check us out. LinkedIn, I put tons of free content on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere that you can grab a hold of. Your team can log in. It's free. It's there. And then we can talk about this. You guys have a great day, man. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much.